The new Triumph Trident 800 has a massive job on its hands because it replaces the legendary Street Triple R. How it gets on with that, and above all, how it rides, you'll find out in the video. And with that, a warm welcome to 1000 PS TV. A warm welcome from Cyprus, where I was able to spend the day today with the new Triumph Trident 800. As you can see, I'm already in civilian clothes, please excuse that, but the weather was very changeable today. We started with sunshine, it was even a bit warm, and up in the mountains, then 7 degrees, rain, and even a touch of hail. So I'm now here in civvies, but that shouldn't be a problem for the video. I said at the beginning, huge task. It replaces the Street Triple R because there have been quite a few changes in Triumph's product lineup for 2026. If you want to enter the 3-cylinder world, the entry point is still the Trident 660. That's also received a big update for 2026. Triple throttle bodies, 95 horsepower. So it's already taken a step up, and now has the engine from the Daytona 660 inside. And if you want to take the next step to the next size up, you already land at the Trident 800. Until now, there was also the Street Triple R. There are still individual bikes available at dealers. You'll find them in the used section on 1000 PS, but after that, the Street Triple R is history. After that, it's only the Street Triple RS, and then further up, of course, the Speed Triple RS. That means the new Trident 800 is now the golden middle. We've got 115 horsepower with the new 3-cylinder, 84 Newton meters of torque. That means for many people this will be that sweet spot for B-roads. And what the new Trident 800 can do and what it looks like in detail, we'll check out now in the walkaround. Right then, let's kick off the walkaround of the new Triumph Trident 800. You can see it's got a bit wet, but that shouldn't bother us. Let's start at the front. These golden wheels are wrapped with the Michelin Road 6, a pleasant tyre for the Trident in my view. This tyre is very neutral in behaviour with very agreeable turn-in, and above all it has enough negative tread pattern to be a proper everyday tyre you can happily use in poor weather, like we've unfortunately had at times today. Moving on, we have two 310mm brake discs with radially mounted 4-piston calipers. They're Triumph branded, so there's no other mark behind them. What we do have is Showa suspension, namely a 41mm upside down fork, big piston, adjustable for rebound and compression. Up here you've got the adjusters. The rear suspension is also from Showa. There's a monoshock. It's adjustable for, oh poor cat, it's adjustable for rebound and for spring preload. If we continue at the front, we've got this classic round headlight from the Trident. We already know it. Very nicely executed. What we also have as standard is a fly screen up front. That comes regardless of which color you order or which trim, it's standard. Same story with the belly pan down here. So they've added some really nice accents and made them standard so you don't have to pay extra. While I'm down here, let's look at the engine too. We've got a 798 cubic centimeter 3-cylinder. We already know this engine from the Tiger Sport 800. It now has different tuning here for the Trident 800. What I find really interesting though is the frame around the engine, because it's the same frame as in the Trident 660. You might ask yourself, how does that work? It's a bigger engine after all. Yes, it has more displacement, but the external dimensions of this engine are identical to those of the Trident 660. The new Trident has 3 throttle bodies up top. That means the engine has the same dimensions. So you can share this compact frame, which is very handy. Looking further to the rear, we've also got the Michelin Road 6 fitted. It's a 180/55/17 at the back. And we've got, above all, the low-mounted number plate holder. A few people asked on YouTube and Instagram whether there's a way to mount the number plate holder up here. I asked Triumph, James Wood from Triumph's development team, and he said they carried out market studies, market analyses, and asked whether people prefer a high or low mounted number plate holder. And in that study, people apparently chose to have the number plate holder down low to maintain this compact silhouette of the bike. Because if you mount the plate up high, according to Triumph, the bike looks longer and therefore less sporty. That was Triumph's decision. In any case, they do not offer a high mount number plate holder. Triumph has no plans for that. You'll probably be able to buy one in the accessories market from third parties, not directly from Triumph. We've already seen that on the Trident 660 as well. That too got solutions from third-party accessories makers. Of course, it's more effort because all the wiring for the number plate light and indicators has to move from down here to up there. So it's a bit of a job if you want to convert it, but the past has shown it's possible if you want it. Back here, we've also got the pillion seat fitted, which in its dimensions is rather compact. So long two-up rides won't be that comfortable, but it is possible and the payload allows it. We've got a payload of 210 kilograms, so you can load it up quite well, luggage or a pillion. Let's look at the display and the bars. And on the display in particular, I have to say it's a bit of a love-hate thing for me with Triumph because this display is functional, it's easy to read, but it's also, unfortunately, very familiar by now. Introduced with the Trident 660, we now even have it on the Scrambler 900. And it's a display that gives me all the information clearly presented. I can set the brightness, date, and so on, but it's not really anything beautiful or special, I'd say. Yes, it allows phone connectivity so I can play music or have turn-by-turn navigation. All that's possible with the display, but it just isn't that nice to look at. What we've got fitted from the accessories is the heated grips. I can really recommend them. They're 3-stage adjustable, and what's more, it's shown neatly in the display which level I'm on. That accessory is, I think, useful and worth spending real money on. We have an adjustable brake lever on the Trident 800. What we don't have is an adjustable clutch lever. Personally, I find that a bit of a shame because in the stock position, it's just about within comfortable reach for me, but people with shorter hands could struggle. Triumph unfortunately doesn't offer one in its own range either. You have to buy that from a third-party accessories maker. Otherwise, Trident 800, we know it's a bike built with a price in mind. A very attractive price, under 10,000 euros in Germany. So how's the overall finish? I didn't really find anything negative. Yes, the decals here aren't clear coated on the mudguard and the fly screen. On the tank they are. Here on the plastic tank cover they are clear coated. And I've noticed on other bikes that if there's no cover for the tank here, no protection pad, it scratches very easily. Especially with this colorway in ash gray, you can see it pretty quickly. So my recommendation, if you buy the Trident 800, get a tank pad straight away so you don't scratch the paint here. Otherwise, it's a very cohesive bike. The Trident 800, in my opinion, has a very nice chunky stance. Despite the compact frame, Triumph has managed to give it a more grown-up presence than the Trident 660, available in 3 colors. We've got ash gray here with golden wheels. The golden wheels are gold with each color. I really like that. I'd almost go for black or red. Those are the other 2 color options, but that's the walk-around of the new Trident 800 for now. I also want to take a minute to ask your opinion, because you will have noticed today in the onboard shots and now in the walk-around that the perspective was new. That's because of the Insta360 Go 3S. I tried it today for the first time. Mounted here in the helmet, behind the visor, so you're really with me in first person when riding, and also in the walk-around so I can show you everything clearly. For the walk-around, I had it mounted here on my cap with this neat little mount. And for me, in terms of handling, it worked well. But of course, it's over to you. How did you like it? I'll put it like this. The advantage for us is that the camera is incredibly light. This module weighs 39 grams. And you really can mount it anywhere you couldn't fit a big blocky camera before. So your opinion is genuinely wanted. What do you make of these perspectives with the Insta360 Go 3S? I'm curious. Write it in the comments whether I should head out on a walk around like this again next time. It convinced me in handling, but now it's your turn. Welcome back in the saddle of the new Triumph Trident 800. For your information, I'm 1.75 meters tall. We have a seat height of 810 millimeters. And as you can see, I fit well here. I've got a secure footing on the bike and can feel properly confident rolling up to the lights. As already mentioned, we've got the frame from the Trident 660. That means the step-through arc is relatively small. We've got a very slim waisted bike that really benefits shorter riders. But I also spoke to a colleague, Miles, Ridiculously good looking hair. The only thing longer than his hair is his body height, 1.95 meters. And he also sat on the Trident 800 and told me that even for him as a tall person it works well, he fits, and above all, he has enough comfort to manage a long day's tour. Looking at it with my height, 1.75 meters, you can see I've got plenty of space at the tank, I've got loads of room to move, and the bars are exactly where I expect them to be on a naked bike. I've got a very comfortable neutral riding position. There's still a light load on the bars, but nothing over the top that would stop me comfortably doing a full day's ride. So the Trident 800's ergonomic layout is very clearly conceived as an all-rounder. Yes, it's a Triumph roadster, but they still want to attract people who'll use the bike all summer long, whether that's commuting, B-roads, or even touring. On our route today, which was roughly 150 kilometers long, I had no complaints that the seat was too uncomfortable or that my hands were going numb because the bar position was too aggressive. If you want or need to, you can also dip into Triumph's accessories. There's a lower seat and also a seat with more padding, which plays into the hands of taller riders. But let's get to the big question. How does the new Trident 800 ride? After all, it's the replacement for the legendary Street Triple R. Our day was pretty mixed. We started in the city, then headed out onto the B-roads, and finally finished on the motorway. In town, this bike rides exactly as it should. Undramatic and easy. We've got a low weight, 198 kilograms. There are two bikes that weigh even more. So with those 198 kilograms ready to ride, you've got a genuinely light, agile machine for the city. I also like the clutch. It isn't too light. We do have an assist clutch that makes riding easier, but there's still a certain pressure at the lever you have to pull. That gives you a really nice feel for the clutch when it bites and when you get drive. As I already mentioned in the Walkaround, I think it's a bit of a shame that the lever isn't adjustable. I can't imagine it would have cost Triumph that much more to fit an adjustable lever. For me, I don't have the biggest hands. It's already a bit of a stretch to reach the clutch lever comfortably, but that was genuinely the only negative point I found in the city. The engine has a lovely throttle response in road mode. We have 3 riding modes: rain, road, and sport. And in town and road mode, I get a smooth, gentle response. I can modulate the throttle nicely and filter pleasantly through the cues. Then we headed out onto Cyprus's lovely country roads and mountain roads, and here you could switch into sport mode and get a feel for the bike. I should also say, our riding today was on the relaxed side. Even though we had British guides up front riding on the left, the pace was rather leisurely, but you could already get a sense of how the Trident 800 feels on a B road, and with the engine in particular, I have to say, it's really a peach. It's known from the Tiger Sport 800. I've never ridden the Tiger Sport 800, so it was new to me. And this triple really embodies the traits you know from Triumph's 3-cylinder engines. It's smooth and, above all, it's elastic. You can ride this bike with minimal shifting because even from low revs, around 3,000 to 4,000 RPM, you've got a nice tug on the chain. You can drive cleanly out of corners, and of course you can then rev it out smoothly to the limiter at 11,500 RPM. And above all, Triumph has done this really nicely, I think. The intake sound is actually the emotional highlight on this bike because thanks to those 3 throttle bodies, we've got a properly throaty induction roar. The exhaust fades into the background a bit, but I'm fine with that because I don't necessarily need sound blasting outwards when I'm riding. I want to hear it, I want to feel it, and with this triple's intake sound, I get exactly that. It's a really lovely emotional component when I'm riding the Trident 800. What also works really well on B roads is the quickshifter, because the new Trident 800 has a really good level of standard kit. We've got 3 riding modes as mentioned, we've got cruise control as standard, and above all we've got an up and down quickshifter as standard. I actually played around in the Triumph configurator beforehand. I didn't really find anything I'd still add to the Trident 800's kit, apart from the heated grips we needed today. But otherwise, the Trident 800 is a pretty compact and complete package, and this quickshifter, which is what I was getting to, works perfectly. No matter what revs you're at, whether you're on a closed throttle or under load, it snicks through the gears cleanly. It's great fun to use, nice and crisp. There's a good feel at the lever. The shift linkage isn't made too soft so you're not stirring it about. No, it's got a properly crisp feel at the quickshifter, and it's genuinely fun. I asked in advance what you wanted to know about the Trident, and there was also a question about the brakes. As already mentioned in the Walkaround, two 310mm discs up front, 4 piston calipers. On the Tiger Sport, the brakes were perhaps criticized for being a bit too soft. Here on the Trident, I have to say the brakes are matched to the bike, I'd call it. We don't have a super sporty naked here. We've got an all-round naked that's meant to shine on B-roads or in town, and these brakes work well. They give me good feedback, but they aren't the sharpest on the market. That means you might need a bit of pressure at the lever when riding, but I find them nicely controllable and above all, just right for riders moving up to a bigger bike, perhaps from an A2 machine and wanting to grow with this bike. Positive to mention is that we've got braided steel lines as standard, so if you do take it to a track day, you don't need to worry about anything giving up. Big praise also for the tire that's fitted as standard. The Michelin Road 6, a true all-round tire, fits the bike perfectly. I mentioned it briefly in the Walkaround and it was confirmed again this afternoon in the rain. The tire gives you a very clear feel. You know what the tires are doing. The front in particular is very important to me, that I have a transparent feel there. The Road 6 delivers that, and even in these wet and slippery conditions, it gripped well and suits this bike perfectly. On the suspension side, we've got Showa components as noted, and they also suit this bike well. We've got a setup that strikes a nice compromise. In town, it isn't rock hard. It soaks up the bumps nicely, the ripples and the manhole covers, and copes well. Then when you get onto the B roads, you can press on and the suspension doesn't feel overwhelmed. Maybe if you really lob it into a corner, you might get a brief float from the rear, but it settles again quickly. Especially if you start tweaking the setup a bit, you can tailor it more to yourself, but as it is, I think it's absolutely fine. Then we carried on onto the motorway today, the last stretch we did to simply cover the meters back to the hotel, completely drenched, and here the Trident was, well, I'll call it unremarkable. We do have that little bikini fairing up front, that small screen. Whether it really takes wind pressure off your chest, I can't really say. You do feel wind on your chest in classic naked bike fashion, but it's nothing unpleasant. On top of that, we've got cruise control as standard. One click and it's active. It's nice and easy to engage, and you can tick off several kilometers on the motorway in a relaxed way because the Trident stays calm and above all, stable at motorway speeds. You also asked me beforehand how it compares to its rivals and to its smaller sibling, the Trident 660. Of course, I don't want to give too much away because firstly, I didn't have a direct comparison today. This is just from memory. And secondly, we want to bring you comparison videos this year. So I don't want to get ahead of myself, but briefly, compared to its little sister, the Trident 660, I'm talking about the 83 horsepower pre-facelift model. You do notice the extra displacement. You notice that the bike has grown up and simply offers more bang for your buck, as they say in English. You really have a big full-size bike here that'll make you happy for years, and it takes that familiarity of the Trident and moves it up a capacity class. Compared to the biggest rival, I'd say the MT-09, I really don't want to get too far ahead, but you can already say the MT-09 has a bit more displacement, a touch more power, a touch more torque. So you do have more shove on the MT-09. How they actually behave on the road will come down to nuances, I think, if you take the standard model of the MT-09, and I think it'll really be a matter of taste. I don't want to leave it unsaid because you ask me, but it's hard for me to pass judgment now because I don't want to do any bike a disservice. That's enough for now on the new Triumph Trident 800. I asked the question, how does it fare as a replacement for the Street Triple R, and how did it ride? I have to say it did really well as a replacement for the Street Triple R. I'd say it's a notch less sporty than the Street Triple R of the time. It's now more tuned as an all-rounder, a bike for every day. But with that, Triumph has created a very straightforward, pleasant motorcycle that you'll be happy with for years, and with which you'll have a great time without any hassle. As for how it rode today, I've answered that, but we need to bring price back into the picture because the Trident 800 is a very attractively priced bike. In Germany, we're under 10,000 euros. In Austria, I think now at 11,300 euros. I've put the exact prices for you in the link in the description below. But this is a product where you really get a lot of bike for your money. For under 10,000 euros in Germany, it's a complete package. You don't really have to add much. You have 3 nice colors to choose from. Here in ash gray is actually my least favorite, I have to say. There's a bit too much going on for me. I'd take it in red or black. But then you've got a truly complete bike, a likable bike, and above all, a bike that will still look good in 3 years' time and that you'll still have real fun with in 3 years' time. So To really come to my conclusion now, I think Triumph has done a really good job with the Trident 800. There are 1 or 2 points I don't like so much, like the clutch lever for example. But for the money and the price tag it carries, I can look past that. It's a successful motorcycle. I think it'll really hit the market hard, and the competition, which is broadly more expensive than the Trident 800, will need to wrap up warm. I'm already very curious about comparison tests. And if you want to see those, write in the comments below which comparisons you'd like to see. Exactly, write them below and we'll do that this season. I'd be delighted if you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because then you'll see those test videos as well. And finally, thanks for watching. Many thanks for your attention. That was the new Triumph Trident 800. I liked it. If you liked it too, write that in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye and bye-bye.